My wife tried to humiliate me online. Useless husband for sale. Now she's begging to come back. They say rock bottom has a basement. I discovered mine when my wife, Charlotte, decided to put me up for sale online. Not metaphorically, she actually created a listing. Useless husband for sale. $200 per day or $50,000 lifetime deal. The ad described me as a good-for-nothing lazy freeloader with no income. A cruel joke, she said, but the glint in her eyes told a different story. The irony was palpable. 3 years ago, I was the one providing her with everything. My tech company was thriving, and I spared no expense for her family. I built a custom house for her parents worth hundreds of thousands in their hometown. I gave her brother a $200,000 gift to buy his house and fund his wedding. Charlotte enjoyed every luxury I could provide, from designer clothes to exotic vacations. She never complained then about my work ethic or ambition. But when my company collapsed due to market shifts and increased competition, everything changed. Suddenly, I became worthless in her eyes. The transition from tech CEO to struggling entrepreneur was hard enough without her constant criticism and disdain. "You've been stuck at home for 2 years doing nothing but playing video games," she sneered one evening, completely dismissing my explanation that I was developing a game. Each time I tried to explain my vision, she'd cut me off with a dismissive wave. The same hands that once eagerly accepted my gifts now seemed to only know how to point out my flaws. Our apartment, a modest 2-bedroom compared to our former mansion, became a battlefield of silent treatments and bitter remarks. The bank had repossessed our house, and Charlotte never missed an opportunity to remind me of our fallen status. "How can you be so sure things will change?" I challenged her one evening, my patience wearing thin after another of her cutting remarks about my appearance. "Just look in a mirror," she snapped. "You look like a hobo. The only difference between you and a beggar is your clothes, and even those are starting to look shabby." That night, after another heated argument about rent, I watched her storm out, claiming she was going to work. I knew better than to believe her, but I had my own secret. I'd been doing food deliveries at night to make ends meet while working on my game during the day. Not that she ever noticed. She was too busy telling everyone what a failure I'd become. I lit a cigarette, trying to calm my nerves. The irony of her online sale post wasn't lost on me. She thought she was humiliating me, but in reality she was only revealing her own character. The woman who had vowed to stand by me in sickness and in health couldn't even handle a temporary setback. As I put on my delivery helmet and checked the app for orders, I wondered how we had come to this. From power couple to a relationship held together by nothing but bitter memories and fading receipts of past generosity. That night, fate orchestrated an unexpected encounter at Galactic Lounge, room 808. I arrived as a delivery driver, tasked with delivering and peeling crawfish, a $50 tip job I couldn't refuse. The establishment's neon signs cast an ironic glow as I made my way through its corridors, unaware of the revelation awaiting me. Upon reaching room 808, I froze at the threshold. There was Charlotte, supposedly working overtime, surrounded by a group of 7 or 8 people. She sat in the center next to her ex-boyfriend, Tyler Caldwell, their voices intertwining in a duet of true love. The scene before me was a masterclass in betrayal. A heavy-set woman who introduced herself as Rebecca opened the door and directed me to a corner without a second glance. "Just sit over there and peel the crawfish. Let me know when you're done." I complied silently, positioning myself where I could observe while remaining inconspicuous. The group's attention focused on their entertainment, allowing me to witness their truth or dare game unfold. Charlotte, having lost a round, chose truth. Rebecca, with a predatory smile, asked the question that would expose everything. "How often do you and your husband, you know?" "Don't make me puke," Charlotte responded, her voice dripping with disgust. "Nothing's happened in over a year." She raised her hand in mock solemnity. If I'm lying, may I get hit by a car? The room erupted in laughter, each chuckle a knife in my back. The conversation spiraled further into humiliation. Someone asked if I even worked, prompting Charlotte's dismissive response. If he doesn't, it's not like I care. The group's sympathy poured forth, but their words were poison disguised as concern. Charlotte, that sounds miserable, one voice sighed. It's absolute hell, Charlotte declared, her voice breaking with theatrical precision. He has no idea how disgusting it is. He lazes around all day playing video games, living off me. Every minute I spend at home with that loser is pure torture. Without conscious thought, I rose from my position, the peeled crawfish scattering across the table. In 3 swift strides, I reached their corner and shoved Tyler aside, his drink creating an abstract pattern across his expensive shirt. The room fell into sudden silence, broken only by the soft drip of liquid hitting the floor. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Charlotte's voice cut through the tension, sharp as a surgical blade. Her eyes, moments ago soft with apparent emotion, now blazed with indignation. "What's wrong with me?" I responded, my entire body trembling with contained fury. "You've got the nerve to ask that after everything I just saw and heard? You're here acting like this, and I'm the one who's wrong?" Charlotte rolled her eyes, crossing her arms in a defensive posture I'd grown familiar with during our recent arguments. "Oh, please. Where's the infidelity in this room, Zach?" Pointed out to me. "You're making a scene over nothing." I took a measured step closer, my voice low but seething with emotion. "You were about to kiss him, Charlotte. Don't even try to deny it. Is this what working late looks like now?" "And what if I was?" she challenged, her tone dripping with disdain. "Are you going to lose some imaginary pride over it? If I've turned shameless, whose fault do you think that is? You, Zach, living like a pathetic worm in a gutter, useless and revolting." The assembled group, previously frozen in shock, began finding their voices. Rebecca stepped forward, a patronizing smile playing across her features. "You know, Zach, if you can't make Charlotte happy, maybe you should be a gentleman and let her go. Ever think of that?" "Exactly. Know your place," another woman chimed in, her designer purse swinging as she gestured dismissively. "Charlotte was the queen of campus back in college, and look at her now. She's still gorgeous but stuck with you, a lowly delivery guy. How much do you even make in a day?" Their cruel laughter filled the room, each chuckle feeling like a physical blow. Charlotte, emboldened by their support, stood and approached me. "You think this is funny? That it's okay to belittle me in front of everyone like this? When we got married, I gave you and your family everything. I never hesitated, and now that I've hit a rough patch, you throw this in my face? That's beyond cruel, Charlotte." "You are garbage, Zach," she spat back. "You've been nothing but dead weight since your company failed, living off my income, pretending to work on some game that will never see the light of day. I've carried you for 2 years, and I'm tired of it." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to maintain composure. The room watched, entertained by our marital dissolution, as if it were just another karaoke performance. Tyler had recovered his swagger, straightening his stained shirt with an affected air of dignity. The weight of their judgment, their assumptions, their complete dismissal of my efforts pressed down on me like a physical force. But somewhere in that pressure, something crystallized. A clarity I hadn't felt in months emerged, sharp and defining. In that moment of crystallized clarity, I removed my delivery helmet with deliberate slowness, revealing not just my face but my resolve. The room's atmosphere shifted perceptibly as I straightened to my full height, my voice emerging steady and clear. "You know what? You're right about some things," I began, my tone measured and controlled. "I am a delivery driver. I do peel crawfish for $50 tips. But what you don't understand, what none of you understand, is that every penny I earn, every night I spend working, and every line of code I write is a step toward something greater." I withdrew my phone from my pocket, navigating to my development portfolio with practiced movements. This is my project, Charlotte. The one you dismiss as playing games. The one you mock without understanding. I displayed the screen, showing over 10,000 documented hours of development work, intricate graphics, complex systems architecture, and a meticulously crafted virtual world. While you've been busy telling everyone about my failures, I've been building. Every moment you thought I was wasting, I was creating. I swiped to reveal the beta version statistics. 50,000 downloads in 7 days, achieved without marketing, driven purely by player word of mouth. The silence in the room grew profound. Tyler's previously cocky demeanor deflated visibly, his expression shifting from mockery to uncertainty. Charlotte's friends, so quick with their judgments moments ago, now avoided direct eye contact. As if orchestrated by fate itself, my phone buzzed with a new notification. I read it aloud, each word resonating in the suddenly attentive room. Dear Mr. Harrison, we at Kyoto Gaming Studios have been monitoring your game's development with great interest. Our executive team would like to discuss potential collaboration and global distribution rights. Charlotte's face, which had maintained its mask of disdain throughout the evening, finally cracked. A flicker of recognition crossed her features, the same look she'd had years ago when my first company began to succeed. But this time, it carried no weight with me. You see, Charlotte, success isn't always obvious. It doesn't always come dressed in expensive suits or arrive in luxury cars. Sometimes it's built in silence, in the hours others spend sleeping, in the moments between delivery runs and coffee breaks. I gathered my belongings with deliberate care, my movements unhurried despite the tension in the room. You know what's truly ironic? The protagonist of my game was inspired by you, someone who has everything but values nothing, who judges without understanding, who destroys what they don't comprehend. Before stepping out, I turned back one final time. By the way, Charlotte, about your online post attempting to sell me, I think you just lost the only truly valuable investment you ever had. And unlike the houses and gifts I gave your family, this time there won't be a second chance. As I walked toward the door, my phone continued buzzing with notifications. More messages, more interest, more validation that the past 2 years hadn't been wasted. The sound of chaos erupted behind me, confused voices, unanswered questions, and the unmistakable sound of someone realizing they'd made a catastrophic mistake. The subsequent weeks demonstrated the transformative power of preparation meeting opportunity. The interest from Kyoto Gaming Studios catalyzed a cascade of professional recognition. Development teams worldwide began examining my work, recognizing the innovative mechanics and narrative depth that I had carefully crafted during those supposedly wasted hours. The pivotal moment arrived in the form of correspondence from Hiroshi Tanaka, the legendary game designer whose work had inspired my initial venture into development. His message carried the weight of decades of industry expertise. Your game captures something many developers spend their entire careers pursuing: authenticity. The emotional resonance of your narrative design demonstrates exceptional insight into human nature. Mrs. Carmen, the proprietor of the internet cafe where I had spent countless nights coding, emerged as an unexpected advocate and mentor. When the opportunity arose for a meeting in Tokyo, she approached the situation with characteristic decisiveness. A gaming visionary requires appropriate presentation, she declared, insisting on providing financial assistance for professional attire. Her support extended beyond mere monetary aid. She offered the kind of unwavering belief that I had once mistakenly sought from Charlotte. The Tokyo meeting exceeded all reasonable expectations. Hiroshi Tanaka's office, situated in a gleaming tower overlooking the city's technological district, featured a wall-sized projection of my game's environment. The veteran designer approached our discussion with remarkable enthusiasm, analyzing each element of my design philosophy with genuine interest. Mr. Harrison, he began, his tone reflecting professional respect, Your work demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of player psychology and narrative architecture. The metaphorical elements, particularly regarding personal growth and resilience, resonate deeply with our target demographic. The contract they presented transcended standard publication agreements. Beyond global distribution rights, it included provisions for establishing my own development studio, complete with a team of experienced programmers and artists. The terms reflected not merely an investment in a single project, but a commitment to fostering long-term creative innovation. Meanwhile, Charlotte's attempts at reconciliation intensified proportionally with my professional advancement. Her messages evolved from dismissive criticism to increasingly desperate appeals, particularly after several prominent gaming publications began featuring detailed analyses of my work. Industry websites praised the game's innovative approach to personal narrative, with one prominent reviewer describing it as a watershed moment in interactive storytelling. Mrs. Carmen, demonstrating admirable protective instincts, assumed the role of gatekeeper at her cafe, which had become my de facto office. Her response to Charlotte's attempted visits carried the perfect blend of proprietary authority and moral certainty. This establishment now serves as a professional development space. Your husband is occupied with constructing the future you failed to envision. The transformation of my circumstances occurred with remarkable efficiency. Professional validation arrived in various forms: industry recognition, financial security, and most significantly, the opportunity to create employment opportunities for other aspiring developers. The contrast between my current trajectory and the circumstances at the karaoke bar became increasingly stark, serving as a testament to the importance of maintaining one's vision despite external skepticism. The trajectory of success manifested with remarkable precision over the subsequent months. My game achieved widespread recognition, garnering critical acclaim for its innovative approach to narrative design and emotional storytelling. Industry analysts particularly noted the authenticity of its central theme, the journey of self-discovery amid adversity and skepticism. The protagonist's arc resonated deeply with audiences worldwide, resulting in unprecedented engagement metrics and sustained player retention. Mrs. Carmen's cafe underwent a strategic transformation into our primary development studio, though I made a deliberate decision to preserve my original workspace. The worn table and familiar coffee maker remained untouched, serving as tangible reminders of the journey's origins. Observing emerging developers working diligently while Mrs. Carmen maintained her tradition of providing specialized coffee service became a daily affirmation of progress. The studio's expansion proceeded methodically, with careful attention to maintaining the creative environment that had fostered the initial success. Young developers, selected for their innovative approaches and dedication to craft, brought fresh perspectives while respecting the established culture of perseverance and authenticity. An unexpected communication arrived from Charlotte's mother, containing information that highlighted the cyclical nature of circumstances. She detailed Charlotte's return to their residence following Tyler's departure. He had pursued a relationship with a prominent social media personality, specializing in fitness content. The residence I had constructed for them remained their primary asset, particularly significant given the unsuccessful outcome of her brother's business ventures. The situation warranted reflection, but not response. Certain narratives conclude most effectively through silence, allowing the weight of consequences to speak with greater eloquence than any crafted reply. The contrast between present circumstances and past uncertainties provided its own commentary on the importance of maintaining one's vision despite external skepticism. During a customary evening meal with Mrs. Carmen at our preferred establishment, the conversation turned to contemplation of life's inherent ironies. "There's a particular observation worth noting," I shared, considering the path that had led to this moment. Charlotte's initial assessment contained one accurate element. I was indeed operating in an elevated sphere. However, her misidentification of which elevated sphere proved rather significant. Mrs. Carmen responded with her characteristic blend of wisdom and practical insight, raising her coffee cup in a gesture that acknowledged both the journey and its outcome. Her simple action carried more genuine support than any elaborate demonstration of validation. The studio's continued evolution brought new challenges and opportunities, each contributing to the ongoing narrative of growth and innovation. The development team expanded thoughtfully, maintaining the delicate balance between creative ambition and practical execution. Our subsequent projects built upon the established foundation while exploring new territories in interactive storytelling. The industry's response remained consistently positive, with particular appreciation for our commitment to authentic narrative experiences. The initial success translated into sustained market presence and credibility within the development community. Professional relationships evolved from mere business transactions into meaningful collaborations focused on advancing the medium's potential. Reflecting on the transformation from that pivotal night at the karaoke establishment to the present circumstances, the progression appeared simultaneously logical and extraordinary. Success, I discovered, manifests not in the vindication of others' doubts, but in the validation of one's own unwavering vision. Mrs. Carmen's cafe-turned-studio stands as testament to this principle, its atmosphere charged with the energy of creation and possibility. The original corner, preserved in its authentic state, serves as a constant reminder that every significant achievement begins with a single, determined step forward, regardless of who believes in the journey's potential.